Hello, everybody. Nika here with your Daily Neuro Nugget. I hope you're having a wonderful day. It is a fabulous Thursday, and I am pumped, by the way, because I just finished listening to the court hearing, and I watch it at speed times 2 because it is one of those 20-hour workdays, not a lot of time, but unfortunately, because it is a hectic day, I just have plain old water. Sometimes we just need to go back to basics and stay hydrated, so cheers. Now, oh my goodness, Ann Taylor was on fire today. She was on it. She came through as a real advocate for Mr. Kohberger, right? Now, as I was watching this hearing, the first thing that goes through my mind is double standards from the get-go, because I'm thinking, okay, what would people say if it was the defense wanting a closed hearing? We know Ann wants everything public. She wants everything out in the open. And the state is saying, no, we want to hide everything as much as possible. We want everything done behind the scenes. Why? But we know damn well that if it was the other way around, and if it was the defense trying to hide everything and seal everything, the defense would immediately be looked at very suspicious, very shady. And in this case, it is the state wanting to hide everything. So of course, nobody bats an eye. Talk about double standards, am I right? Now, prosecution, in my opinion, should already have all of their facts together. If this is an ironclad case, and if Mr. Kohberger is their man, we need to see this evidence. And I am not talking about the only evidence that they seem to have, which is the DNA, which is BS, because why? 19 picograms out of 100 to 200 picograms necessary means that the DNA is trash. It is unreliable, scientifically unreliable. So no, that is not good enough, people. Please, I know that is very easy to say, well, they only found his DNA, without thinking there was other male DNA in the house that was never really tested for whatever reason. But 19 picograms out of 100 to 200 picograms necessary, all of the scientists that I work with have said, yeah, this is not okay. It's completely invalid. So we want to see the facts. Now, I have some notes here that I took from the hearing, because the prosecution is basically, okay, they're crazy. They are objecting to everything the defense does. They are objecting to the public hearings. They are worried about what goes public. They are worried about the change of venue, and they're objecting to handing over discovery. Again, if this case is so ironclad, why are you so worried? Why do you object to everything? Why are you trying to hide everything? Now, people say, well, it's Ann Taylor's fault. She wanted everything sealed from the get-go. But Ann, again, she was on fire, spicy. She's really grown on me, by the way. Ann says that the only reason they had filed things under seal was because it was necessary to expedite things, and they end up in a public record anyway. Meaning what? Meaning she did it because things needed to move quickly, and the things that were under seal were going to be available to all of us anyway. So, public. So she was wanting everything public anyway. And it is one thing for a document to be sealed that's going to end up in public view anyway, versus sealing a public hearing. Two completely different things. And she goes on to say that the Sixth Amendment right to have a public hearing, it's being squashed because Mr. Kohberger has that right, and the state is saying, no, we don't think so. We don't think so. We want to seal everything. Again, it does make one wonder, what is the state worried about coming out at the next hearings that are scheduled? Ann says 3 motions to compel were all public. They were all public, but now suddenly the court and the state want to seal the next hearing. Could it be because maybe some exculpatory evidence could potentially come out of that? Just a thought, just theory, just speculation. Ann says the state is controlling the narrative. And this was a shocker to me. by hiding audio that was part of the video. Yes, the video that supposedly places Brian in the residence at 1122 King Road that they have seen is just a tiny clip with no audio. So Anne wants it out. Anne wants everything out and open to the public. So again, what in the world is on that video? I want to hear the audio. I know we all want to hear the audio. Why? Because is it possible that maybe there is exculpatory evidence in that audio? What if we hear Jack's voice in that audio and it turns out that maybe it was a different white car, or the voice of somebody else and it turns out that it was somebody completely different driving that vehicle? Why is the state deleting most of that video and only giving Anne a tiny portion? And why is the state deleting audio? That is extremely unfair. Anne also went out to call out the state, saying they were lying about handing over 95% of the evidence. She says they're still waiting for the majority of the evidence to be sent to them. And one must wonder, will they actually ever receive it? I mean, it has been a year and a half, going on a year and a half here. Again, if there was any exculpatory evidence, I can see why the state and why the FBI would not want to hand it over, right? Because then that would mean there's no more, there's no case. So the state says, okay, maybe we'll allow the trial to be public, but not the hearings. The hearings don't need to be public. But all hearings so far have been public. So it just seems very suspicious. Again, the state keeps slowing things down, makes it hard to carry on with this case when Anne has not even received the basics to be able to properly and fairly defend Mr. Brian Kohberger. And if you have not watched the hearing, I suggest you go watch it and go to minute 30 and second 30. That that like I could feel my blood pressure rising when I was listening to that portion, because Judge goes on to say he does not want to talk about the missing cell tower data. He does not want to talk about the missing videos or the missing cell phone information. He basically does not want to talk about any of the things that Ms. Taylor has yet to receive. And that is complete and utter nonsense, because Anne is saying, I don't have these things. I need these things to defend Kohberger. And Judge says, yeah, but I mean, we can't have everything, you know? We just can't. What? She needs this stuff. And here you are defending basically the state and the FBI, saying, well, we all can't have what we want. So is that not Judge kind of squashing on Kohberger's trial and fairness as well? It seems that way to me, at least. Oh, Judge. Also, at minute 30, second 30, if you go back to watch the hearing, just the smirk on the judge's face. He says he doesn't want the state and Anne pointing fingers at each other, but Anne says she can prove that basically Bill was lying about handing over everything they had. And Judge immediately shuts down Anne. That is bias. Not only that, but that stupid smirk, that grin. I know in the past, out of passion, I have said that Judge comes across as kind of unintelligent, but I know he is intelligent. And I believe that he knows what he's doing, and I believe he is extremely biased, and it is extremely visible. But to me, it is much more shocking to see people's comments on these live streams, and they're saying the judge needs to move along, the judge needs to speed this trial up for the victims, and that they need to already get with it and unalive Mr. Kohlberger because he's obviously guilty. And I'm over here like, is it just me? Is it just me? Am I losing my mind? Because I am very analytical. I try not to be very emotional in these cases. And all I can see is pure bias from the judge. So are people that emotional and that blinded that they are unable to see that? Or am I going a little bit crazy here? Because I don't think that. I am not crazy. I know I am not crazy. I know he is biased. Why? I have to defend myself here. Yes, I have several degrees in psychology, and it gives us some perspective. So please, please let me know down in your comments. Did you watch this hearing? What do you think about Judge? Is he being biased? Did you notice that silly smirk at minute 30:30 when he basically shut Ann Taylor down, saying he doesn't want to hear about whatever she needs to carry on with the case? He doesn't want to hear about the missing things, the cell phone tower data, the cell phone info, the everything. Let me know down in the comments, what did you think about this hearing? Again, I believe there's another hearing coming up. When is it? May 14th. So stay tuned for that one, because I'm definitely going to keep my eyes open for that. And I know Bill Thompson is going to try to wash his hands, say that they don't have anything, that it doesn't exist, that it is the responsibility of the FBI, that they can't do anything. And I just have this beautiful quote that I love by Harry S. Truman, a past president. Hey, this is what he said. I would have never agreed to the formulation of the CIA back in 47 if I had known it would become the American Gestapo. Yeah, the president who created the CIA, who signed that paper saying, let's have a CIA so we don't have to go through the boring paperwork. Let's give them power. Regretted it later on and called the CIA the American Gestapo. Okay, this is coming from a freaking president. And I know that this case involves the FBI, but are they not the same thing? And let me know down in the comments. Do you agree with Harry S. Truman? Is the FBI, is the CIA, is the DEA, the American Gestapo, an entity or entities full of so much power that can do basically whatever they want and don't have to be accountable? Nobody keeps track on what they're really doing. So that's it for the day. I hope you guys have a wonderful evening. Wish me luck in job number 2. And remember to stay hydrated. Have a good night.